They'll help. I dare you. Ye of little faith.
Hey there, how's it going? This is Zeltrix playing against Angry Joe in a game, Duelyst. And I've been playing this game for a little bit, about once a day, because that's how you earn gold so you can get your free card packs and what have you. It's actually pretty generous about handing those out. So, you're not kind of forced to pay the money, but it makes it so much easier because if you get duplicate cards, you can break them down into spirit points, but man, you don't get a lot. Like 100, if you spent like 100 points on a card, it could be like, oh, what is it? Like, 40, you got 40% return on your investment. It's kind of brutal. So if you get like a bunch of like, sometimes you get open up a bunch of packs, it'll be all just commons, and then a rare, which isn't that rare. It'll be like, what is the level? It's common, rare, epic, and then legendary. Legendaries being the best cards usually. Oh, that's an edit with the Camtasia thing that I didn't quite plan out. But that's because I had to zoom in on the game. The game was in a window, and then I made it full screen right there. The whole time I thought I was recording actually when I played this game with Angry Joe, but as you can see, I'm like trying to close out all my things, and I even still have the little recording going on. I'm actually listening to him play. I don't. He never says what cards he has, just because I wanted to hear him what his process was as I was playing. And I got lucky with this game. Like when I picked up the game when it first got out, but I never really touched it after that. And they changed so much when I finally went back into it. So in the game now you have like bloodborne spells per your factions, and so my deck was like not up to date. On top of that, they changed a bunch of cards, like that little Jaxie, is it called? The little character up on the top. He's now a 1/1, which is pretty weak. And if he dies, he becomes like a 1/1 ranged in one of the four corners. So he's a pretty good card, but back then he was 2 mana and he was a 2/2, so that was a nice solid body to work with. But now everything's changed. I don't know. Um, you know, at the time I was like, oh, great. And so I basically got into a game with Angry Joe, and he had like obviously a deck that's better equipped. Well, actually, this is Deldarus account. That's one of the co guys on Angry Joe's show. But Joe was going on. He's like, I hope you're not cheating, screen watching. And I was so tempted. I could have just looked at it, but I thought that would have been so much of a dick move, and I wanted to do this fair and square. And that's kind of how it worked out. So you can see here, I'm like this guy. Oh, I already forgot all the names. Like I played. I mean, the names are never really too important, but yeah, that's when I buff my guy up all super strong and like lay into him. Wham. So I thought I was gonna win, honestly. This is this game goes on. I don't think this game goes on for too long. I know it has a little recording right there in the bottom right hand corner. But see, that's like me editing all my stats, and I'm like, man, am I recording this? And then this guy gets his legendary spectral blades, and he's got all this shenanigans going on, and I was like, oh, that's all these new stuff. So the characters aren't working out the way I wanted them to. So yeah, it's a solid game, I gotta say. It's the kind of game I'm looking for, or I was looking for, like a tactics game, but because I missed Final Fantasy Tactics. I liked being able to have like your different classes do different abilities. You can bring a whole team into there, and I did like that they had different abilities. What was it like? You had a ranger, then you had like you can upgrade them too. So they went from like archer to ranger or sniper or assassin. I did like that. And this game's kind of similar, but you only get uh, you get a faction cards. So there's two leaders per faction, each leader doing a different thing. For this race, that the leader I currently have right now is a guy who can buff himself to make himself stronger and do more damage, and his counterpart lets him and the other player draw a card. Um, so that point of that guy is to like take more advantage of your card draws than your opponent can. And in fact, I run a deck that no one else likes that guy. From what I look at, no one plays him, and that's because your opponent gets to draw off of your move. Because you waste a mana spell or mana shard chunk. You can only get to a maximum of 9. You have to waste one to draw a card, and you might not be able to take full advantage of that. On the other hand, your opponent gets to freely take advantage on their next turn. So now they're up a card. So I've been tinkering around with trying to maybe run a mill deck or something. I mean, you'd actually suffer a lot more from it than your opponent. So the best thing you can do is maybe run a bunch of weak creatures, or not weak, but rather cost efficient. So a bunch of like 2 manas and maybe like 1 or 2 like high mana costing guys, and basically just to draw into all your threats, and your opponent won't be able to keep up with that. I mean, I need like a bunch of legendary cards. Not legendary, but like there's a chick who lets you draw twice, and if you have 3 of them out there, you're drawing 3 extra cards on top of your normal end of the turn draw. And so 4 cards, not many decks can like knock out 4 cards and that much in one go. And so hopefully the kind of deck I want to build would just take full advantage of that. Just have nothing but weak creatures and weak spells, but being able to cast all of it. And I don't know. I don't have the spirits, and I don't want to spend money. I know you have a one-time purchase of $10 that'll let you get 10 booster packs. So normally the cost exchange is like I think like $2, so it's kind of like a good one-time discount. But that was another thing they changed at this game. It used to be you used to draw 2 cards, I think, at the start of your turn. The draws were different, and that's when I got fucked. You can see I'm like, no. You can also get emoticons if you level up and you play your race more and more. But once he did that, I was like, I'm hosed. Like unless I can get in there and just deal that final 7 damage. But I knew I couldn't. He had the advantage on me. So I knew he was on top of this. So that was that was disappointing. I wanted to crush Joe. I mean, I don't know. It's always, I guess, if you're gonna play a basketball game with, or any kind of sport activity, you you want to be able to just crush someone. You're like, oh, I know you're retired and all, but I could take you on. So this game, I lose if you didn't know, like, because he's completely got me. I'm completely boxed in. There's nothing unless because I was like, oh, cool, a guy with dispel. I think this throws him off because he doesn't quite know what dispelling does. So I like send that guy in, and I figured, oh, I can minimize that. He didn't. In fact, later on, like he comments again. I don't have the audio for that because the whole time I was trying to like plug in my headphones, and then I had a speaker, and then it didn't work out, and so no audio recorded, and so that really sucked. And so I try to back off, hoping that like, okay, I got a spell that lets me create multiple copies. And so that's when he's like confused because he's trying to click on his guy, and he's like, oh, he doesn't have range anymore. So I remember that. This was like a while ago, man. This was like a month ago. Um, I haven't been too busy to be able at my normal job to be able to record and edit. And normally I try to put something funny, as a little image, or I like to play around. This is enjoyable. But I can't remember what he does now. I mean, yeah, I'm low on spells, but what does he do? Um, yeah, but they changed the game a lot, and they're always adding new cards. They have like end of seasons, which are seasons are done by per month, and you never go down in rank. So if you get to like gold, like silver, gold, platinum, challenger, I don't quite remember what I've never been past anything silver, but you never go down in rank. So if you have like a bunch of particular bad games, or and you hit gold, you just hit gold, you'll stay gold. And the higher ranks you go at the end of the season, you get like more points, you get more, oh, what do you call it? Um, Rewards. You get like more spirit. Sometimes you get like a free card. And this is me just like crap. I screwed myself. At this point, I was just like, oh no, and I replaced into a frickin' Slythar minion, and I was like, damn it, that sucks. And he summons. Oh, I think it's like, oh, and this card changed too. I remember, like, I looked at this card and I was like, what? They changed this card? Now it like heals both people, or they increase the mana. Like, they had done, yeah, this guy. So now if he deals damage, he heals or kills. I can't remember, and I was just like, oh no, and I knew I was hosed. So then he summoned some creatures. So I really wanted to win, but what can you do? But yeah, this game's not bad. Not too many interesting decks. Again, once you start, it's not like Magic the Gathering, which I used to play a lot. You used to have to, yeah, in Magic the Gathering, you have like combo decks or aggro and these different little fun things. Sometimes you could do like, oh, what do you call it? Sometimes you could do games like tribal, like, oh, all my ogres and get +2/+2 because such and such, and you edit some things. But this one, it doesn't seem too much. You kind of have a set strategy. There's no other way to win than to um, there's no other way to win than just to, oh, what do you call it? Just deal the damage. There's not like alternative methods of winning. I know in Magic the Gathering there's some cards that, like, if you hit a certain counter, um, victory, like, I don't know, victory. There's this one card that if you reach 100 counters on it, you'd instantly win the game. Or there's some like poison decks where if you get 10 poison counters on a player, you instantly win. You don't have to like drain their life. You just have to get to the 10. And that's when I killed it, and I just like I gave up. I was like done. Because I was like, I don't have anything in my deck to really solve that, and all he has to do is attack it on his turn, and so that was the end of the game. And then that's me like trying to like listen to what he said, and he's like, "Oh, why'd he do that?" And I just had to be done. I was like, "There's no way." And that's what gave him his win, because he was just like, "Oh, like, yeah." But I attest that I had a bad deck that wasn't upgraded to like the standards, and plus I didn't even know what, like, I was like, I didn't plan to with those abilities, and so I hope you enjoy this commentary. I don't know how. I have like maybe I sometimes I can catch games with like other YouTubers, like you watch them and they're like, "Hey, I'm streaming this and this," and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'll jump right in and hope I get a game." I know I can get that with Ponce. He normally does. He's a League of Legends player, and he normally does his shtick. And he's like, "Oh, I'll invite some players, and you can show up." And I put up a game of that, and sometimes I'll just catch it just to play, see what better players can do or in game. But all right, thank you, and goodbye.